Hello, my name's Kevin. This is the typical cripple. I got a little experiment I want to run uh, in front of you. So, I have an electric wheelchair that I use for mobility, and I've been experimenting on different wheelchair view excursions, and so um, my mission on the day that I think this was last Saturday, Sunday, a friend and I went out, and I drove from this location to the capital, which is um, here, which is a ways away. And being, you can't just go straight across, I had to go around on the roads, and I thought it would be nice to discuss how that is done based on the route I went on. So, without further ado, I'm gonna comment over the course of the trip. So
Recording.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
all right. Well, I'm going to turn this way, just stay out of my frame, and we'll go. Hello.
I'm gonna turn down the volume on my speakers so that we were not overwhelmed by the what's going on in the video. But so I
Yep.
started off from um, Tumwater Hill Lookout, and my buddy drove my vehicle, so we had
I'm going to keep it in
little
fourth gear all the way.
FMRS radios to keep in touch.
I don't know, but I
And
can lean forward to adjust. Like that? Is that better frame?
Yeah, because you were angled up. Now you're probably.
of course, we're
20 feet
discussing
from any of
frame,
Okay, we'll try
adjusting
it.
the camera and
Thanks.
such. And the reason why I sound like I have something in my mouth is because I do. I chew on these little delicious cigars, and I love them so. Which reminds me. Yum. So at this point, I'm readjusting my footrests and not really paying attention to anything else, but now the footrests are at the appropriate angle, so if a seatbelt comes off, I don't go flying out on the sidewalk. Done that a few times. It hurts. So, yes, I did look both ways. And here I am using the bicycle lane on the left side of the road so I can see and make eye contact with drivers. So I know what they're looking at, and they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and we form a little connection here that I see you, you see me kind of thing. And sorry for the bounciness of the camera. It is a bit of a it's a bit rough in a wheelchair. They don't give you much suspension. But also here I noticed a little bit later my phone's bouncing around a lot, so I do apologize. And of course, that storm grate area is a little rough, so I went over the fog line to get out from that. So,
gotta go. Alright, I'm not going to control it. I'm just gonna let him do him. I'm not gonna control this. Mm-hmm.
So here I'm going down the bike lane, and yeah, there is a sidewalk on the other side, but sidewalks are real
Hello.
bad for me
How y'all doing? I'm doing great, thank you.
because one wrong move and you're in traffic,
That's
normally
right.
on your side. So that's not a good place to be sitting there immobile in the middle of the road while traffic is whizzing. So I opt to be on the bicycle lane facing oncoming traffic. So I got a little more visibility, a little more control, and a little more room to maneuver around people and whatnot. So, and you can hear that my radio is tripping. So, when I mean tripping, the squelch does not. It's an automatic squelch for us. Probably not automatic, but squelch is the level at which your speaker activates on the signal. I think. This is where I noticed the camera. That's a lot better. But it's a little bumpy going down the road.
I can't.
That's my friend letting me know he's down here at the bottom of the hill, waiting for me to take a left. Before we left, I should probably let you know this was a long enough route that my friend was unaware of, or at least unfamiliar with, that required a little bit of a safety brief. So we traced out the entire route on mapping software, and so he's sitting there with the map and possible locations to park to wait for me. So that's what we did before doing this. I would not attempt this trip on my own, just by myself. So just letting you know that I had a chase vehicle for this excursion, and eventually you'll see why I wanted someone at arm's length at least to be able to be there, ready to assist. I also had on my person this thing, which is a emergency device that links to cell towers. And
Oh, Jack.
that will
Sorry. Hey.
not paying
Hey.
attention.
How you doing?
Not really paying attention there, but yeah, I've got my head in the game right there. Looking both ways. Bouncy, bouncy. Bouncy, bouncy. Up the hill.
One.
I know that that side of the hill is pretty steep, and given my level of spasticity, I didn't want to give my cerebral palsy an opportunity to kill me. So I normally follow a rule that if there's a dangerous falling off place, you want to try and put as much room as you can between you and that falling off place. Look both ways.
Hello.
So my wheelchair goes about between 6 and 8 miles an hour. It's not that fast, but it'll go up a hill pretty 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 effortlessly as long as there's as long as it's paved. It'll go up. That was probably the only place in the whole street that would have provided that type of jostle. So, sorry about that. Of course, my friends like a couple of car lengths behind me, just driving along. We used to do this when I lived in another town a little closer to him. There'd be times where I'd stay over at his house a little too late and it'd get dark, and he would follow behind me as I went home. It worked out for us. I don't live in an environment where I would do that again. Now that I have a vehicle, it's pretty much point to point. It's not that hard. But there was a time where the wheelchair was my only source of transportation, that and public transport, and that could be rough. As you can see here, it's a little more bumpy when you don't have a heavy vehicle plus suspension. It really wears you out over time. If you go on a 2 hour high vibration walk, for lack of a better term, it can be a little fatiguing. So I'm gonna let that guy go by. It's always good to be courteous with traffic and people that are you share the road and sidewalks with. Of course, I'm gonna dart in front of him because he's stopped. You know, he's holding traffic back at that, if there was any traffic to be had at that stop sign. And here's where it gets a little more exciting, in my opinion. Or at least here's where my stress level increases, because I'll point out some of the problems with this area. So that sidewalk over there is just so narrow and impassable by wheelchair standards. So I cut out, and yeah, of course, it's always good to be courteous. And so I pop out, zip down, and pop back in across the fog line so you're not in traffic. And this is, area in Tumwater that's a little less developed, of course. You can see here that the traffic pedestrian indicator kind of go half on, half off the sidewalk to reach this. Luckily, it's only like an inch tall, if that, at the sidewalk, so it makes it helpful. And away we go. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. And, of course, I go over I-5 here. You might notice our iconic Rainier Beer Brewery. No, it's Olympia. Sorry, not Rainier. Olympia Beer. I once knew a guy that referred to Olympia Beer as camel urine, which I thought was funny for being a child. So, what did I know of banquet beer? Yeah, that's the old brewery. Of course, lots of... Okay, right here I have to switch gears, which...
No, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, we had planned on taking a right here. And you might notice with these sidewalks that cars regularly ride that sidewalk, so it's a little nerve-wracking going around there. You want to kind of each way out. And I want to point this out. This sidewalk is atrociously weathered. And as I was going down the sidewalk, so there's a downward grade plus a little more, it slants to the right. So right here, I was trying to do something like this to get my weight shifted a little more to the right. So I could go across this. It's not like if you're walking on it, you'll slide. But a wheelchair's got a lot of weight behind it, so once it starts sliding, it'll just follow the path of least resistance, and that would lead over the lip of that sidewalk and into traffic. And you know, God knows if people are actually watching what they're doing, so that can be a little nerve-wracking in and of itself. But as I'm going down this, my my right tire keeps like skidding out. So correct, turn, go straight, correct, kind of thing. So it was a little nerve-wracking. And of course, you're also dealing with the narrowness of the sidewalk. Nerve-wracking just watching. And of course, once I get on the newer sidewalk, I relax a little bit and keep going down the road or down the sidewalk. And I want you to notice that on both sides, if the wheels go one way or the other over the sidewalk, I'm stuck. Of course, there goes the chase vehicle. So good, I'm glad we're back on the same page right there. And down into the road cut, which allows city vehicles to the right and stuff. And of course, going around this, a little stressful. Because, like I said, you get one of the wheels in the hole, you're not getting out. Which is why I have the radio. Well, take a little relief. And of course here, I'm not so concerned because I can veer to the right into the,
Nah, just keep it low.
Yeah, I'm just doing a little self-talk here, probably at it in third gear, second gear, something like that, or power setting. I call them gears. They're not gears, they're power settings. And really, the key to sidewalk management is not to go too fast, especially when you gotta continuously course correct. Wheelchairs. My wheelchair is a center wheel drive, so it doesn't quite follow the angles of whatever path of least resistance I'm working with as much, and of course I up the power settings so a little faster here. Interesting story about power settings. Back when I was a small child, my mother used to put a bead on my joystick to keep it from going too fast. It was like a governor on a motorcycle or something, and my mom would put a bead on the joystick and put the little cap on and tell me not to take the bead off, which so she turned around and looked the other way. I had the bead off, and Captain, where's your bead? In my hand. Where's it supposed to be? On the joystick. So I have a history of.
I'm alive!
I have a history of going too fast when I ought not to, and chaos ensues. Of course, I yelled at my friend I'm alive because at this point, I'm probably pretty sweaty. I know just watching it gets my blood pressure up. Yeah. The sidewalk is pretty doable. And of course, while I'm going through this, I'm fighting my spasticity. How can I explain? It's like involuntary movements. There was a time I used to be talking to bands and knock things off tables and such. But not anymore. Of course, right here I'm trying to just thread the needle. If I fall to the left, I go on the straight. If I fall to the right, I go down and tumble into the fence. Not fun. And all the time while you're going through this, I don't know how your mind works, but it's like I start fixating on, how bad could this get? And my anxiety goes up, and you try to shove it in the back of your mind so you don't freak yourself out, but that's how my mind goes. And here I'm doing a radio check.
You should be able to go straight.
I'm good. I know where I'm going.
Shut up. Let me drive the van.
Hello.
Of course, it's always good to be courteous. Can't be courteous enough to people that you're just passing by. You're just saying hi. Throw a hello out there. See what sticks. And of course, you can tell the difference between the sidewalks and the walking paths. It's so much smoother. Oh, so much better. I couldn't even hear it.
Hello. Hello.
Patriot going by in his truck. Like to see those flag wavers.
Pardon me.
Like
Thank you very much.
Like I said, I sound like I got something in my mouth. I do. Cigar. Cigars help you calm down.
Excuse me.
Of course, you
Thank you.
make sure
You have a
that
good day.
everyone knows where you're at. You give them plenty of time to move. Otherwise, they get a little skittish. Oh my gosh, you scared me. I saw you 100 yards away. I don't know what your problem is. But you want to come up on them, slow down a little bit, maybe, give them an opportunity to move away or something like that. I know it sounds like people dealing with buffalo in Yellowstone or something, but it really does. It does matter. So you want to give people a nice big old place to go out, move away and all that. So here I'm trying to do another radio check. I think.
The park meanders around a little bit more than I thought, so I should be out on Deschutes Way in about 10 minutes.
So.
How you doing? Good, good.
Alright. Well, I want to tell a story about this little area of parking lot here on Tumwater Park. One time, a caregiver and I went down there, and it was very strange. There were people parked forward and people parked with their engines out, their front headlights out towards the front. And anyways, it turned out it was an elderly gay hangout. And when I asked my caregiver about it, he was like, is this some sort of gay hangout? And
Hello.
my caregiver
Not bad.
responded with, how did you know?
Hey man, how's it going?
Instead of, and so I think that's why it's all blocked off and there are no cars. It was very strange being there. There was other things going on there, but all right, that's it for this one episode. So I do have another one that sort of completes it. I was not able to video the whole thing, but my name's Kevin. This is the Atypical Cripple. See you on the next bounce.